The silent costs of spice and shelter. Promise or prison in a business in a lease versus dust of the red gold, shelter in shaky ink. Ownership on paper only. False riches, true ruin. Built castles in the sky, only to crumble beneath the weight of their own greed. Footsteps in the dust. Trace stories of desperation. Silent echoes. In the streets they thought forgot. Arrested dreams. Lie scattered in cold cells. Their wings clipped. Before they could ever soar. Kodikawada's poisoned breath. Hangs thick in the alleys. A smog of sorrow. No morning sun can lift. The disappearing line between right and wrong. Blurs under the neon haze. Where survival is an excuse. And excuses are a way of life. A crore too many. And the soul begins to rot. Sold in tiny, trembling pieces. At every desperate handshake. White powder. Black hearts. Sow the seeds of oblivion. Watching futures wither. For the price of a fleeting high. When the sirens woke the night. The city shuddered awake. Bearing witness to the reckoning. That greed had long delayed. A market of misery. Thrives on broken promises. Each deal signed in shadows. Each smile a lie stitched tight. They sold their souls for crores. Never knowing the cost. Until their names were ash. On the lips of the betrayed. The invisible harvest. Grew in the shadows. Tended by hands too desperate to stop. Fed by dreams already sold. Captured in a breath. The poison spread. Silent, unseen, claiming hearts before they could harden. Dust devils of the underworld. Spiraled through Kodikawada's veins. Whirling deals in back rooms. Twisting futures into ash. 80 crores and no escape. The price stamped on broken backs. The bounty weighed in silence. Too heavy to carry, too sweet to refuse. Fallen under the weight of greed. They buried themselves alive. Stacking lies as scaffolding. That crumbled at the first light of truth. A crack in the empire. Grew wider with every secret kept. Until the silent walls screamed their confessions. The end hidden in packets. Small enough to palm. Deadly enough to erase. Whole generations. Chasing ghosts of the trade. The sirens sang a new song. And those who once ruled the night. Found themselves running from the day. Beneath the veil of profit. The cost was carved into bone. Lives lost for ledgers filled. Bodies broken for a balance sheet. Kodikawada's day of reckoning. Rose with the sun. And the invisible harvest. Was finally reaped in chains. Flames that cost more. Once cheap warmth at our door. Now each flicker demands more. A fire once kind. Now burns with greed. A hunger stoked by growing need. Gas bills rising like smoke. Thin as mist but heavy as stone. The bills curl upward, a silent groan. Invisible debts in every breath. Smoke signals of creeping death. Burning through budgets. Ledgers catch fire in unseen hands. Monthly dreams fall like brittle strands. What we earn and what we save. Ashes tossed into an empty grave. When the stove frowns. The stove once smiled with hearty meals. Now it frowns with silent appeals. Each dish a costly whispered plea. Of what was warm and used to be. The price of blue fire. A dance of blue, a deadly waltz. Beauty hides the climbing faults. Every spark a secret cost. In this burning, something lost. Heating homes, emptying wallets. The warmth we chase, the cost we dread. More zeros trail where hope once led. Cozy corners come at a price. Frosted hearts must pay it twice. Gaslight of the economy. They say it's fine, they say it's fair. As prices thicken the freezing air. Truth bends like flame in a gust. In promises we dare not trust. Inhaling the cost. Each breath we take, each flickering light. Carries a tax hidden from sight. The unseen toll, the silent debt. Etched in the air, in cold regret. Pipelines of price hikes. Veins of steel beneath the ground. Pumping fortunes without a sound. Prices climb in silent might. As pipelines vanish from our sight. Cooked by inflation. The pot still simmers, but slower now. Recipes altered with furrowed brow. As every meal becomes a math. Cooked in the furnace of aftermath. Cold nights, costly flames. Blankets thicken, but wallets thin. Cold nights settle heavy within. Each flick of flame a quiet cry. For warmth that dares to defy. A kitchen under siege. Once a haven, now a battlefield. Where pots clang like swords concealed. And every meal we fight to cook costs more than the recipes took. The fire we cannot afford. Sparks leap high with a mocking grin. Luxury wrapped in flame skin. We count the clicks, we count the cost. Warming hearts at what we've lost. Breathing in expensive air. The very air is priced and sold. Breath weighed heavy, breath grown cold. Inhaling debts, exhaling fear. A taxed sigh for every tear. Blue flames, red warning. The blue that once sang songs of care now flares alarms into the air. Each shimmer a scar, a brightened debt. The warnings inked in silhouettes. Cooking on borrowed breath. The stove sighs with a weary tongue. On borrowed breath our meals are strung. A borrowed future, a costly trust. Crumbs of hope swept in dust. Whispers of the gas giants. Silent lords behind the veil. Counting coins from every inhale. Their whispers ride the winter's sting. A song of hunger, suffering. From cheap to cherished. What we wasted, we now adore. Grains and flames and so much more. The cheap grows rare, the simple prized. By wallets worn and hopes downsized. Households on edge. Corners crack with hidden strain. Families huddle against the pain. Holding tight through biting gales. As fragile hope slowly exhales. The cost beneath the flame. The dance of fire is never free. It hides a price too fierce to see. Beneath each glow and every meal. Burns the true and bitter deal. Ink on the lease. A flourish of ink, a quiet sigh. Papers bind where hopes once fly. In strokes unseen, the future spun. A roof secured, a freedom gone. A roof bound by rules. The sky above, but not my own. Beneath a roof by others thrown. Rules like nails in every beam. Build a house, but not a dream. Fine print, heavy chains. Tiny letters, heavy load. In hidden words, my fate is owed. Signed and sealed without a fight. Dragging chains through every night. A home you cannot hold. Walls that cradle but never keep. Promises made for borrowed sleep. A house that's warm yet never mine. Living on another's line. Signed without seeing. Blindfolded trust in dotted lines. A future shaped by unseen signs. The ink still dries as doubts arise. Was this my dream, or my disguise? Behind the friendly smile. Behind the grin, the papers wait. Smiling hands that twist the gate. What's friendly now may twist and fray. When monthly dues come back to play. The trap of terms. Rules coiled tight around my feet. Clauses cold, intentions fleet. A spider's web of gentle lies. Traps dressed up in landlord ties. Rented dreams. Dreams in boxes, dreams on lease. Paid in hope, renewed in peace. But every dream packed on a truck reminds me none of this is luck. Walls that listen. Whispers bounce in rented halls. Every secret against these walls. The echoes know, the echoes stay. Long after tenants drift away. A price for every key. Each key a cost, each door a toll. Each hallway hiding pieces stole. A home is dear, but never free. When even dreams come with a fee. Shelter in shaky ink. The lines blur as the ink runs dry. Shelter signed on a whispered sigh. What feels like home could slip away. Built on promises too thin to stay. The contract weighs heavy. Paper light but burden bold. 1,000 rules in small print told. Each clause a stone upon my chest. No peace, no claim, no right to rest. Clauses and conditions. Promises stacked with hidden snare. Conditions lurking everywhere. A simple shelter, bought in strain. A house that echoes silent pain. Promise or prison. Keys clink like cuffs behind my back. Each freedom bound by landlord's tack. Is this a promise, soft and kind? Or prison walls my dreams confined? A house, not a home. 4 walls, a roof, a place to sleep. But home is something bought too deep. This house is hollow, cold, and loaned. A heartless thing I do not own. In the landlord's hands. My hopes are held in stranger's grasp. A fickle smile, a tightening clasp. What's mine today may drift by night. In someone else's quiet might. Tenancy on trial. Every month a verdict waits. Good behavior seals my fate. Yet even perfect tenants fall. When unseen forces make the call. Before the pen falls. The promise sparkles, bright, alive. Before the ink can even dive. But once it stains the waiting sheet. Hope and hardship start to meet. Ownership on paper only. A name on lines, a rented dream. Ownership only in a scheme. Real roots demand a deeper claim than signatures beside my name. The cost of shelter. More than gold, more than stone. The price is felt in skin and bone. For shelter asks a heavy fee. Not just in coin, but dignity. Spice and sparks. In the heart of heat, the spice meets flame. Crushing dreams in the grinder's name. Sparks fly where the peppers burn. In every grind, a lesson learned. Grinding through troubles. Rough edges turn to powder fine. Through every grind, I toe the line. Troubles turn to dust and spice. Each grind a sacrifice. A business of burning tongues. On lips that sing and scorch with heat. Spices like fire, both sharp and sweet. In every bite, the tongue must pay. For the profit of another's sway. Dust of the red gold. Red gold crushed in silent haste. Leaving dust in its spicy taste. Behind every shimmer, every grind. A bitter trail is left behind. Blades that break dreams. A blade too sharp to soften blows. Cuts through dreams where passion grows. Each slice a fracture in the plan. Spice-filled winds tear down the man. Machines need love too. Cold metal hums and gears will grind. Yet even machines have hearts to find. A touch of care, a twist of hand. Keeps them running as they stand. Grit in the gears. The grind doesn't stop when the wheels begin. Each turn a battle to push through sin. Grit in the gears, dust in the air. The cost of progress is never fair. Spices whisper warnings. Every grind whispers secrets old. Tales of heat, of riches sold. Spices worn with every scent. Of hearts that break and dreams that rent. The silent costs of spice. Behind the fragrant, fiery sweet. There's a cost that can't be beat. Silent price for each grain sold. Hidden in the spice, stories untold. A pinch of profit. A pinch for flavor, a pinch for gain. Profit caught in the spice's chain. Yet as it burns, so do the dreams. Lost in the dash for silver streams. The silent costs of spice and shelter. Promise or prison in a business in a lease versus dust of the red gold. Shelter in Shaky ink. Ownership on paper only the end.